Hello. It's what is it? It's Monday. No, gotta make things. Oh, it is Monday. Monday, April 24th. Um, Start my fifth round of chemo tomorrow. Of expected six. No real confirmation on that. It's a guess. But I think my original treatment plan was 6 months of chemo, then surgery, then 6 months. I'm not 6 months. 6 rounds of chemo, two per month. So 3 months of chemo, surgery, and then another 3 months of chemo. Um, and so we're entering treatment number 5 of the first 6. So that's pretty exciting. It seems like it's almost done. Uh, 2 doesn't seem that bad, especially my last few haven't been too bad. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm going to keep doing the icing, and hopefully my last 2 chemo treatments will be just like the last ones, and they'll be fine. Um, I did get a CT scan um, last Monday, something like that. And I also was supposed to get an MRI. But Shadow, you're going to mess up all that stuff. No, 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 down. There's folded clothes on there. Hi. Thank you. I'm not going to edit that out. That's going to be like a moment of reality, like real life stuff. Okay. So the MRI, there's a story now to tell about the MRI. So originally my doctor had ordered a CT of the chest, abdomen, and pelvis. The chest to see if it's spread, also catches a bit of the liver. The abdomen to check the liver and the rest of the organs to see if there's any spread, and the pelvis to check. The abdomen and pelvis will kind of both get the colon cancer tumor, and then as well as there's a lymph node that they're suspicious of in my leg, in my pelvis, that they want to look at. They'll probably just remove it regardless because they don't know if it's cancerous or not. I don't know how they would. I guess maybe if it gets 100% better after the chemo, they'll leave it. I don't know. We'll let them decide. Anyway, that's what he originally ordered. I contacted my doctors in Cleveland, and they said they'd prefer an MRI. And my doctor here, my oncologist here, said, all right, that makes sense. And so he canceled the CT scan for the abdomen and pelvis and kept the CT scan for the chest. And the reason why is he says that CT scans are actually better when looking through bone. MRIs are more accurate, but they do better with soft tissue. So abdomen, MRI, pelvis, MRI, because it's the lymph node is in front of the bone, but for the chest, CT scan. So I went in for my CT scan and I got that done. Turns out CT scans are a lot easier to schedule. You get them, 4 or 5 days ahead of time, whereas MRIs take you like 3 weeks to get. So waited for the 3 weeks. The day of my MRI, which was supposed to be yesterday, I get a letter in the mail from my insurance company saying they will not cover the MRI because, according to their guidelines, a CAT scan will suffice and it's a less expensive procedure. Great, right? Because I'm trying to get this before my appointment. So I'm stuck thinking on Sunday, I'm like, all right, so should I just go and then fight the insurance company? But I'm already fighting the insurance for 5, 12, 14 other. In fact, I'm not even fighting the insurance company on all the charges that I have because there's so many of them that they haven't covered that anything under like $1,000, I'm not worrying about. But there's like 8 of those. It probably add up to like $5,000. Anyway, maybe I'll come back and get those once they do the other 12 that are all, $3, 4, 9, $10,000 each. So I did those first, and then I want to see the result before I bother to go do all the little ones. But I'll just use the same argument anyway. Anyway, I'm deciding whether I should just go in or not. And I'm like, I don't want another fight with another insurance company. I don't think it's that important that I get it today instead of 3 weeks from now. I'm just not going to go in. So I canceled my appointment yesterday. And I texted my doctor, messaged my doctor through my chart, and told him, hey, they sent me a letter today saying they're not covering the MRI. So I'm not going to the MRI. Let's schedule a CT scan. They say they'll cover that. Let's just do that instead, and it'll be good enough. And I went about my day. Went and spent the day with my kids. Had a great day. We went and took a nice long walk. We went out to lunch together. Both kids had a great time. Eli said it was one of the best days he's had in a while because he got to drive his remote control car all around town, and had a great day. And then the next morning, I get a message from my doctor saying he called the insurance company. They've approved the MRI. But I just missed the MRI the day before. And they take 3 weeks to schedule. So I want to text and be like, fuck it, just do the CAT scan because we can get that this week. MRI at this point is going to be after the chemo is done, like I didn't actually text him back, but that's what I thought. And I was like, does he not realize that I actually missed my MRI? Like, he got it approved. That's great, but still can't do it because it's not scheduled anymore. So anyway, I met with my oncologist today. He said that everything looked good with my blood, to move forward with chemo. All my numbers are doing better, not worse. Even my tumor markers went down a little bit, not a bunch, but he said that it's probably establishing a new trend and they'll start moving down more quickly, which is promising. Although I don't really think it matters that much because it's more about how I feel, and I know that the tumor is shrinking. And I told him about the MRI situation and explained to him that it's going to take 3 weeks. He's like, can you get it any earlier? I'm like, I'm on a wait list, but with wait lists, basically, if somebody's not there, they email you, and the first person to respond to the email gets it. And there might be 20 people on the wait list. And so it's basically who's on their phone when the email comes in and you can click, I'll take it the fastest. So I'm not terribly optimistic that I'm going to get in early, but I'm going to try. And otherwise, it's going to be in 3 weeks. Well, he's like, well, it's for the surgery. You're not doing surgery before 3 weeks. He's like, I see enough on the CT scan and with the blood work to know that chemotherapy is working, and we're going to keep doing it. And he said that, whether we do it for 6 weeks or 8 weeks is more up to the surgeon than it is up to him. He said he's happy with the response that we've had, and that we're going to have in 6 weeks, he thinks. And the surgeon can decide whether he wants to do more or I guess it's not impossible to do up to 12. That's like the max, but they usually don't do that because the increased effect on your nerves and long-term nerve damage, which can be permanent, which they like to avoid, of course. And so they usually only do those long chemos if it's really necessary, and say that you weren't eligible for surgery unless it shrank to a certain amount. But they say that I'm already eligible for surgery, even without it shrinking. So most likely it'll be the 6 weeks, but I forwarded my CAT scan to my doctors in Cleveland and told them, hey, let's start talking surgery dates and what I need to get, my ducks in a row so that I'm ready for those surgery dates when they come. So I just sent that text message today. No response yet. I sent over the CT scan results today. I just got them today, and yeah. So that's where we're at with that. So basically, the doctor decided no need to do the CT scan. Keep the MRI at the end of the process. We were going to need it then anyway, and he feels like he has enough information to know that we want to continue with what we're doing anyway, and then we'll figure out if we're going to do more or less based on what my surgeon says in Cleveland. So that's that. And the reason why he said to stick with the MRI is I don't know where to start on this topic either. Maybe I should start writing notes. But all right, so in the notes for the CAT scan, so when you get a CAT scan, they do the imaging, and then they have a person that reads x-rays, right? Not your doctor necessarily, that then goes in and analyzes it. Your doctor can look at the image too and confirm, but there's people that are basically experts at reading x-rays and CAT scans and MRIs and, know exactly what they're looking for. And so that guy did a write-up on my chest scan, and my chest scan shows no cancer anywhere else. So it hasn't spread to my lungs or spread anywhere else. And there's no signs of it anywhere other than my liver. Now, in a chest x-ray, it doesn't get the full liver. It gets about 75% of it, but it doesn't get the full liver. And so he said massive amounts of cancer in my right lobe of my tumor, which we know. And he said measuring 14 centimeters. So I don't want to read too much into it because he doesn't have the whole thing. But my original measurement was 16 centimeters by 14 centimeters by 13 centimeters, approximately a 6-inch oval. A big sucker. And if it went from 16 to 14, that's actually a pretty massive decrease in overall volume. It's about an inch difference, 3/4 of an inch. But since it's a three-dimensional object, from a mass perspective, it's about a 33% loss in mass. So a third of the tumor is potentially gone. Now, again, you can't read too much into it because it's one measurement, 14. Maybe when they come with the other two, it's going to be 16 and 13. It's the same exact size. Anyway, the doctor is convinced that it's either shrank or stayed the same size. And so everything's working. And no spread. Happy with the results. Everything's on schedule. If it shrank 33%, that's awesome, but he wasn't ready to make that conclusion. And he said that once we get the MRI, he can get three-dimensional measurements and compare them to the original to see if it's shrunk at all. But he said shrinkage really isn't the biggest deal. It's, death of the cancer. So it shrinks because once the cancer dies, your white blood cells can come and kind of break it up, which your body does with dead cells anyway. And then those dead cells are removed and new cells grow in their place. Well, with a tumor the size of my tumor, and with chemotherapy killing most of my white blood cells, it can't shrink a tumor that much. Most people have tumors this size. That's a pretty big tumor, right? Big tumor. Well, you remove that, your body can remove that, right? Because if that dies, then, in a week or two, your white blood cells can clean it out and replace. But if you have a tumor this size, your white blood cells can't, you need months and months if it was all dead for your body to clean it out. So if it did shrink 2 centimeters, that's actually, from a mass perspective, that's a lot of cancer that's gone. But again, we don't know for sure. Anyway, he also said that the MRI will show how much of it's dead. So he said you can't really tell that in a CAT scan, but I guess for some reason in MRI, if there's a doctor out there, you can put it in the comments and maybe somebody will read it. But nobody reads comments. I do, but nobody else does. Maybe I'll fill people in on the next one. But anyway, so what the doctor said is that the MRI will not just show the size, but it'll also show how quote unquote healthy, which is actually my quote. I'm not quoting him. I just made that up. Um, and tell whether it's dead. So I might have a giant tumor that's basically just a bunch of dead cells that my body is trying to get rid of, but take forever because it's, you know, 8 pounds of them, you know, or whatever. I don't know how much it weighs. Um, but um, we'll find that out when we get the MRI. And he's convinced that that's what the case is. He thinks it probably has shrunk a little bit. Um, and that most likely the large uh, tumor area that still exists, a large portion of that is dead as well. And so hopefully the MRI confirms that. No reason that it wouldn't. And we'll have to go to surgery. Now, he said that another doctor of mine, a doctor friend of mine, not an actual doctor, looked at my scans and they're like, yeah, the tumor is going to die from the chemo, but your body's not going to be able to get rid of it. It's too big. And so he was talking about how they're going to have to insert a drainage line into me before the surgery. And he said they're actually going to put a tube in underneath my ribs and into my liver and basically drain out the dead cancer tumor, which will be like more liquidy, I guess, because it's dead, and drain it to get rid of most of the mass before they do the surgery. And he said that I might need to have that hose in for 4 or 5 days and just letting it drain nasty dead cancer cells. So that'll be fun. I'll make sure to send you a video on that one. And I got that to look forward to. So, you know, that sounds like he was right. So he said that to me months ago, and I went in one ear out the other, but I didn't really forget it. But it's coming back to me now, and what maybe he meant by that. It's starting to come into fruition. So that's that. What did I cover? I covered CAT scan, MRI, the difference between the two, why we still want an MRI, why we can't get an MRI, why I didn't get an MRI. I think I covered everything. So my new MRI date is May 16th, which is conveniently a week after my last chemo treatment, which is a great time to get an MRI to show to your surgeons how you're doing after your chemo treatment. So I'll get my MRI at a good time, and I won't have wasted it. In hindsight, I should have just let him do the CAT scan of all three places and told him to order an MRI for the end, but I was excited to get an MRI in the middle. And if that's the only piece of bad luck that I get during this process, then I'm doing pretty good. Anything else? Chemo starts tomorrow, around 5. I will be icing my hands and feet. I'll also be chewing on ice, even though that didn't seem to help at all. I don't really know if it did or not, because it could have been worse. And at this point, I'm doing what I did last time. I don't think it hurts. And once you do it once, it's tough not to. I don't want to find out that it worked 50% by not doing it this time. And ice chips don't taste that bad, so I'll eat them. I'm somewhat of a, I don't want to call myself a legend. I'm somewhat of a topic of gossip in the oncology room because nobody's seen anybody wear ice packs on their hands and feet before, and they're all floored that it works, which, again, I'm surprised about. So I had a different nurse, one that hasn't worked with me before. I had to get my tumor markers checked today. Um, the results aren't back yet. They'll be back in a day or two. But as the nurse is working on it, she's like, you're the guy with the iced hands and feet. I'm like, yeah, that's me. She's like, that's amazing. She's like, I can't believe that works. I was like, yeah. She's like, it's the opposite of what we tell everybody. We tell everybody, oh, your hands hurt when they're cold, so keep them warm. But the opposite is actually the right course of action. Keep them cold during the chemo, and then you can have them cold afterwards. And she's just amazed by it. And I guess everybody in the oncology office thinks it's amazing that it works. And she's like, I heard about it, and I did research, and I found this clinical study. So they're not only like they're hearing about it, and then they're like going to their computers and like Googling it, like I already did, and finding out that people are saying that it works. And so maybe I'll help people in scripts that are going through chemo in the future to have less neuropathy in their hands and feet, because I am spreading the word that it works. And it's one of the bigger issues that people have when it comes to this particular type of chemotherapy, which I'm starting to learn the names of, but I still don't quite have it. It's the no, it's not the ivermectin. The ivermectin's the one that I think gives me the first bite syndrome and makes my legs sore. It's the Foxfori, I think. Anyway, yeah, so that's going to happen tomorrow. And then I will feel like crap until Friday or Saturday or Sunday. It was pretty much Sunday that I started feeling better last week. So I'll feel like crap till Sunday, I'm sure. Hopefully it ends on Sunday again, which means it's not getting worse. It's staying the same, which so far has been consistent. The real fear with chemo is that things get worse and worse as they go forward. For me, they've been getting better and better, which is not normal. But I think it's because I'm getting healthier and healthier, and because I have less and less cancer holding me back. I mean, I think I was at death's door, I think, when I started the chemo. I really think my liver was, weeks, maybe months from failing. And if my liver failed, that would be it. They wouldn't be able to do chemotherapy, and it would be, that would be that. That would be that. And now that I'm fairly healthy, I've gained like almost 15 pounds. I'm up to 180 pounds. I can do 10 push-ups. Pretty impressive. I was at about 50 when this started. I'm down to 10. But when I first tried to do a push-up, probably like third round of chemo, I could only do, I think, 4 the first time I did it, 4 or 5. So I lost weight everywhere. I'm gaining weight back right in this area, mostly right here. So I would prefer if I was gaining the weight back here in a little more solid form, but that's not what's happening. It's coming back as belly fat. So I'll be anxious to get back into the gym once I'm healthy enough to do that. And I think I'll be healthy enough to do that in 3 weeks. I think 3 weeks. 3 weeks, and then I should be waiting for about a month and just trying to get as healthy as I can before my surgery. So that's going to be eating healthy, going back to eating healthy, going back to going to the gym every day, or at least 5 days a week, doing weight training and cardio, and getting as strong as I can getting my body as strong as I can get it, so that I recover from the surgery quickly and can get back into chemo quickly. Because that's what it's all about for me. All right. I think I've given you enough information. Probably won't post again until I'm feeling better. I just don't have the energy to do it when I'm on chemo. I don't. I don't leave my bed much. Um, so you can look for a video from me maybe Sunday or Monday next week. So about a week from today, I'll try to give you an update on how the 5th round of chemo went, and I can give you my tumor marker numbers at that time too. But I wouldn't read too much into them. If they go up, it's a good sign. If they go down, it's a good sign. If they stay the same, it's a good sign. So they don't mean anything. But we'll watch them anyway. At the end of the day, we want them to come down eventually. I just don't think they mean anything right now, because we don't know whether they're cancer growth or cancer death or canceling each other out. So Trish just walked in. She she got back from pool. She's back to play pool again. I almost went and watched her play pool this week because I'm anxious to see my friends, I guess. I didn't want to make a scene, though. I kind of feel like it would be a scene, but I didn't, in part because I know it's still dangerous. I also know the place that we play pool has a lot of people that are not vaccinated and not real careful. And I know a lot of people that have gotten sick or COVID from going and playing pool. And in fact, while I was thinking about it today, I heard from somebody that says that they got COVID watching pool last week. So I'm glad I didn't go last week. And I'm just going to have to stick to my guns and not go until my immune system is healthy. They say about a month after chemo, your immune system is, you know, mostly healed, and or at least the fast healing portion. You can still take years to be at full, but 80% of how much better it's going to get, it gets in that first month. And so about a month after my last chemo treatment, I should be able to show my face in public, which will give me a couple weeks before surgery anyway, I think. Again, I should, maybe when I talk to you guys next week, I'll have an update on the surgery dates, because I'm going to start pushing for those and start making sure that I have all my stuff in line for it. All right. I don't want to go over half an hour. I thought this was going to be a 5-minute video, and it is not, people. Thanks for watching. Whoever actually watches the whole thing, I'm proud of you. You did it. I'll see you in a week. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if this didn't bore the shit out of you. Bye.